Some fairly decent news today. The internet is back on. Sky have kept their word, and finally we can get some videos back online, get the channel back up and running. I've got some big plans to expand the channel in the next couple of months. I'm going to put a lot of effort into putting out good content, putting out a good quality and a good quantity of content. As I said before in my previous video, I'm going to try and get Charles Martin, heavyweight contender, on the channel at some point in the next week or two. I've also got a few Skype things that I need to organise in the next week or two now that my internet's back on. But we're back on the channel, and we're back on with a good time, because I wanted to talk about Kell Brook versus Jojo Dan. For me, this fight swings on a single factor, and that factor is, what kind of shape is Kell Brook actually in? Let's take promotional jargon out of the equation. Let's take a fighter's self-belief out of the equation. You've seen the scars, you've seen the pictures, you've seen the stitches. Kell Brook could have died from that Massetti attack. He lost a ridiculous amount of blood. Now, I'm no doctor, but I find it hard to believe that a deep incision in someone's leg, as big, as wide as the cut that I've seen, is going to cause no damage, no lasting damage. Kell Brook, for me, is a technical boxer. He's a guy who uses angles, who moves. For him, any decrease in his mobility, in his agility, in his flexibility, is going to be a very, very big negative. He's not a guy who stands there and slugs it out. He's a thinking fighter, a moving fighter. And before I take Eddie Hearn's word for it that he's better than ever, faster than ever, stronger than ever, I want to see it with my own eyes. Let's put it this way. For me, it's quite hard to believe that Kell Brook's sprint times have improved following on from this incident. Now, I can fully accept and believe that Kell Brook has made a full recovery, but Kell Brook is not a 21-year-old who's still improving. And the suggestion that his sprint times, his run times have actually come on since this leg cut, which is what Eddie Hearn is saying, is to me somewhat bizarre. We shall see. However, whilst I'm slightly dubious as to Kell Brook's condition, what I would say is that if he turns up, let's say 90% the Kell Brook that turned up against Sean Porter, he wins this fight. I've watched a bit more of Jojo Dan recently. I'm going to admit he's not someone I've followed throughout his career. He's not someone I'm a fan of. He's not someone I have a huge in-depth knowledge of. Based on resume alone, I do not consider him to be in the top 20 at 147 pounds. Stylistically, I think there are some similarities between him and Sean Porter. He rushes in. He can be quite a sloppy fighter, more so than Porter. He's quite inaccurate. You'll often see Jojo Dan rushing in for a war, getting caught on the way in, throwing wide shots that miss by quite some way and leaving himself open. Now, Kell Brook, he's not a puncher to the same extent as perhaps a Keith Thurman, but he does carry power. He is a big puncher at 147. In my opinion, he stopped in Senchenko, a better 147 pounder than Jojo Dan. And I don't think Jojo Dan is going to be that hard to find. I don't think he's going to be that hard to hit. I think, should Kell Brook's leg be healed. Brook's footwork is going to be much more advanced than Jojo Dan. I expect Brook to kind of be circling him, moving away from him, giving him lateral movement. I expect Brook to be taking a step back when he comes rushing in and catching him on the way in. I expect Brook to be using reflexes and defence to avoid some of Jojo Dan's wide shots and then to be catching him. And it doesn't surprise me at all if Kell Brook does win this fight by knockout. I think Jojo Dan will run at him in the same way Sean Porter did. But I think Jojo Dan is a fighter who operates at a lower level than Sean Porter. I don't think he carries the same amount of power Sean Porter does. And I don't think he's been in with the same level of opposition. For me, this is an easy night work for Kell Brook. I think Kell Brook is on a different level to this guy. I'd take the vast majority, if not all, of the top 20 welterweights against this guy. The simple question is, what kind of condition is Kell Brook in? And we won't know that unless we see him go a few rounds this Saturday night. I'm predicting an easy win for Kell Brook. I'm probably thinking it ends via stoppage. Let me know your thoughts.